Welcome back to Sticks Tricks. I am Sticks. Today I'm showing you how to install the Emperor Racing Radiator Guards on your Kawasaki KLX 300. My aim of this video is to have it be the clearest how-to on how to do this, as the instructions you get with them are a little vague and a little bit hard to understand. Let's get right into it. These are the tools you're going to need: flathead screwdriver, a driver with an extension for a 5mm and a 4mm Allen. You're going to need an 8mm and a 10mm socket with an extension and your ratchet to go with it. Also, not required, but they do recommend the blue thread locker for all the bolts that you're touching in this installation. And this is the uninstalled side. The installation is exactly the same on the left and right, which is why I did one side to get familiar, and now I'm showing you how to do the other side. They do give you some really nice printed pictures here to reference. And these are the instructions I'm talking about that, like I said, it's great that they have them, but they weren't super clear, at least to me. And this is the part number for it. Apparently it does not fit the pure dirt bike version, the 300R. And before I continue, I do want to apologize for my voice. I am sick, I am under the weather, but I'm feeling good enough today to get out in the garage and share this how-to video with you. Let's learn how to install these excellent radiator guards on your KLX 300. As I mentioned, this applies to both sides, so let's get into it. First, get your 8mm socket and remove these 3 bolts so we can take off our plastic panel. Now that we have access to the area, we're gonna keep going with our 8mm socket, and we're gonna remove this bolt right here, which that should crack loose very easily. Now we're gonna get our flathead screwdriver, and what we're gonna do is get it right here in this tab area and kind of twist it sideways like this, because now we're just going to pop out the plastic panel here. And once this fully pops out, as we can kind of see, there we go, then it pulls out sideways, and we're not going to reuse these sort of louvers that direct air in on the radiators. Not really needed. Now's a good time to clear all this debris, so I'm going to blow that out there. Next step, remove the 2 8mm bolts right here and here, and these bolts will come out separate of this sort of washer and grommet situation, which those you want to leave. And then we're going to remove the lowermost bolt for the gas tank mount, which is this one right here that I'm pointing at. This is a 10mm bolt. Okay, now this is where you want to pre-apply a little bit of Loctite on your hardware, which I've already done. Now we're going to get our main protector here, and we're going to get the 2 longest bolts, and these are 5mm here. This one's 5mm as well. It's just these 2 little Allen bolts here that are 4mm. But we're going to start out with these 2, because these 2 are going to go into these respective holes where we pulled out the factory hardware. So let's do that now. Okay, now that we have these bolts started in here, we want to make sure this is still loose, as you can see. So these 2 bolts that we put in using the factory location, now we want to leave a little bit of play here, because now we're going to grab our support bracket. Keep in mind the 4mm Allens go in these 2 front holes, and these are already threaded. Be careful not to strip those, or cross-thread them, I mean. And then this bolt here will go through this hole, and this will replace that gas tank mounting bolt right here. So how this goes in, this front section on the left of your screen will go behind the guard. It may take a little bit of, it kind of actually takes 2 hands to kind of manipulate things into place, but this will slot into there. You can see those holes starting to line up just there, and then this will perfectly go onto our bracket here and line up. And when it's lined up, this sort of cut section where my finger is will go around the washer of that other bolt. The other side has no interference at all. This side, with, I believe this is some of the emissions equipment, it does kind of push on a couple of the rubber hoses. So I'm going to see if I can rotate this or shift things around a little bit, get these 2 4mm bolts just started. Like I said, be careful not to cross thread these. Okay, so now what I'm having to do is this bolt, it's it seems like this is a little misaligned and this bracket is hitting the washer of it before this hole aligns. I did not have to do this on the other side, but on this side, I'm gonna crack all these loose and see if I can push these kind of out of the way and get this to align, because you don't want this in here crooked. You don't want this on top of this washer right here. You want this flat against this plate. Move things around a little bit, and there we go. Now I'm gonna get my driver here and check this out. So what I actually did, I was able to rotate this a little bit so this hose moved in. So now it's really barely touching that. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. And then, like I said, these I all loosened up so I could shift this bracket around, and now I was able to get this bolt threaded with this bracket being flush with this sort of mounting area. So I'm gonna snug this up a little bit and then go about snugging these up. Now what I actually need to do, I need to loosen these a little bit. So now this can slide, because at least how I'm gonna do it is I want this joint right here just to be a little loose, because now I'm gonna go in with my 5mm and start to snug our main brackets up, because this will sort of pull this into its final position in relation to the bike's frame, and I don't want this to prohibit that from happening. So I played with this a little bit to get it kind of where I'm happy, and now I'm gonna snug these mounting bolts up and then grab the 4mm here and then snug these up. So now this welded sort of nutsert, whatever you want to call it, this is where that lower bolt will go for the factory green plastic. And now I do want to say the other side went on the first try. I didn't have to loosen these and readjust anything. This green plastic on this side is this mounting hole on the radiator guard is just a little low. And you can see this part's actually kind of making contact on this tab, which is okay. But really the main issue is this kind of needs to go up a little bit, which means I'm gonna loosen this again and shift things up a little bit, and then we'll get the green plastic cover right back on. Keep in mind, this bottom bolt was longer than the rest, and what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna use this. I'm gonna put this with the other hardware we took off and didn't use. I'm gonna use this hardware, which I forget where this came from. I think this came from the radiator that held the black plastic shroud on. You can see it's the same as these. I'm gonna use this for this lower hole, because this now goes in here, and that longer bolt may go through this and hit this tab on the radiator, and you don't want to risk bending that or really messing with the clearances there. So keep that in mind. Don't just go ramming that bolt in there. You might want to use the one I'm going to use on that lower section. So now refitting the side panel, what I did was I got these in loosely here, which I will loosen this up a little bit. Get these two in loosely, make sure this tab is below the seat right there. And then for the last one, you can easily push it in where it needs to go. And as long as you got the alignment on your radiator guard right, this should go right in. I wouldn't even be opposed to reaming out this hole a little bit here, because as with changing something as substantial as the guard, either way it's going to change a little bit how the plastics are going to mount, but luckily the plastics are flexible. And as you can see, you can kind of see some witness marks right here of where it was. All I'm going to do is pull up on the plastic a little bit and snug it up right in place. And now everything, just get it nice and snug how it was before. Now that we have our side panel back on, we can admire our new radiator protection here. And as I may have mentioned, now using that shorter bolt for right here, it's not going out too far past that threaded area and contacting the radiator. And you can see here even how the guard is notched right here. That means our wheel can turn with plenty of clearance with the fender there. So I'm really happy with these. As you saw in this video, this side fought me a little bit with just getting it aligned right to get the plastics fitting back on. If the plastics won't fit right for you, in my opinion, it's not the radiator guard. Just go back to the drawing board with loosening everything and kind of getting it in the right spot. So I hope this video helped you. I hope you were successful in giving your KLX 300 this much needed protection, as this is what's going to ruin your day. It's what might ruin your engine if it starts leaking and you're not aware. So protecting these, in my opinion, is really just as important as getting a nice sump guard on the bottom of your dual sport. Thanks for watching, and until next time.